service agencies like yes. So there are about 70 agencies, some individuals, and we're organized into action teams. Workforce development on direct care workers and brochure director of workers. Individual.
There they all are.
Everyone, thank you for joining us.
Led to this initiative. And so we're forming a new information as well as all the others. Best practices, so we get that information out.
Thank you for joining. We're going to start shortly. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'll send her a message.
I don't know if this presentation. And then sort of like it might be good to not more opportunities. Yeah.
Morning, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone on Zoom hear us sometimes? Good. Good morning, everyone, online, in person. I'm Micah Sheetreat, Program Manager of this Elder Alliance, and so happy to be here with all of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. I thought we would start a little bit this morning with some introductions. If you want to say your name, where your pronouns, your organization, or where you're coming to us from. And maybe we'll start on Zoom. Lavina, would you like to share with us? Good morning, Lavina.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. I'm Lavina Tomer with Southern Arizona Senior Pride. My pronouns are she, her. Linda.
Okay, I'm Linda.
Anyone in the room?
Okay, which Linda?
Linda Hollis, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Linda Hollis, University of Arizona, she, her, and Lavina, it's always great to see you as well as everyone else. Linda Travis.
Hi, I'm Linda Travis with the Healthy Aging Programs at Jewish Community Center, she, hers, and I will pick Harbhajan.
Hi, good morning. My name is Harbhajan Khalsa. I use she, her pronouns. Sorry, I'm having a little internet issues this morning. And I work for Pima Council on Aging, and I will pass it over to Lisa Reams.
Good morning, everybody. Lisa Reams. I use she, her pronouns, and I work for Pima Council on Aging. I'll pass it to Deb Knox.
Deb, you're muted.
Uh, Deb Knox, Tucson Home Sharing, passing it on to Sarah Asher.
Good morning, everyone. Sarah Asher, Arizona End of Life Care Partnership, anchored at United Way, and I'll pass it to Alex Casper.
Hi, Alex Casper with Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program at United Way of Tucson. And I'll pass to Donna.
Good morning. Name is Donna Baker X. I'm a community health worker. She, her. I work for United Way. I'll pass it on to, I have no clue. Any volunteers? How about, is Elise? Am I saying your name right?
Elise.
Elise. Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm with JFCS of Southern Arizona, and I'm Elise Bejor, and my pronouns are she, hers. I will pass it to Lucy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lucy Reed. I'm with Tucson Home Sharing, she, hers. I'll pass this to Robert.
Hi, my name is Robert Doan. I'm with EMS Lifeline. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm not sure who's left, so somebody help me out here.
Morgan Hartford, he, him, from the Alzheimer's Association.
Judy Klinko, she, her, volunteer on Catalina In-Home Services.
Claudia Ortega, she, hers, Director of Community Services at La Posada.
Maya Luria with TMC for Seniors and TC3, she, her, please.
Linda Roque. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Imelda Esquer, YWCA, pronouns she, her, ella. I manage the Comadritas program.
Linda Roqueta from Valley Assistance Services. I pass it on to, I don't know, let me see, Alex Casper.
Eileen Lawless, University of Arizona, she and hers, and I'm not sure who else can go, but unmute, I guess, and just go.
I see Kristen.
Kristen Bennett with the Alzheimer's Association Health Systems Director.
That might be it online.
Anyone else on the screen? Is that enough?
Who's Anne?
Anne, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Anne Stelmack, and I'm with Tucson Home Sharing.
Welcome, Anne.
Welcome. Thanks for being
here.
here.
My screen, I cannot get my video on my screen.
That's okay.
Well, thank you for being here and seeing us and hearing us. And I'll pass it into the room. Vivian, do you want to take this away?
Hi everyone, my name is Vivian Escobar. I come from ICS. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Allison Wood. My pronouns are they and she, and I'm with JFCS in the Department of Older Adult and Community Services.
So I'm Mark Clark with PCOA. My pronouns are he and him.
Liz Posey, United Way. I am referred to by she, her pronouns.
I'm Frances with United Way, and I go by she, her.
I'm Elizabeth Miller with the United Way. My pronouns are they, she.
I'm Laura Vickus. I'm the Director of Partner Engagement for the Arizona End of Life Care Partnership here at the United Way, and I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Dave O'Hearn. I'm just starting to volunteer with AARP Fraud Education.
Welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Hi, I'm Jim Murphy. I am co-chair of the newly forming Livable Community Action Team at Elder Alliance.
Amazing. Well, thank you all for being here. So excited. And thank you to everyone who is new to Elder Alliance or newer to your positions and for joining us. Elder Alliance is this amazing collaboration. Can't see in-person people. So.
Micah, this
Yes.
is Yolanda. I just wanted to say that I'm also online now with Voices. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yolanda Herrera with Voices. Thank you so much, Yolanda, for being here. So we are a collaboration of people, of resources and organizations. This is better, I can see me.
Hopefully.
And we come together every 2 months. This is a partner and community meeting. We hear updates and we often hear from a speaker. Today we will go through a few updates from United Way and Elder Alliance, and then we will hear from Jim Hennelly of Chris May's office. So I wanted to, and before that, we'll say our Elder Alliance equity statement read to us by Judy Klinko, and I'm gonna share the screen now.
Well, it's not on the screen, but I'll be happy. There it comes.
There we
First,
go.
there's the first.
All right, thank you, Judy.
Okay, the membership of the Elder Alliance strives to create an inclusive, diverse, equitable, and accessible culture where all new perspectives are valued and celebrated. We will work to identify and eliminate the disparities and barriers to participation in our coalitions and teams through sharing of power and deep collaboration. We commit to work with and intentionally engage our community in an effort to learn and transform the landscape of older adult services for the betterment of ourselves, our organization, and our communities as a whole.
Thank you so much, Judy. And thank you, Jennifer. Welcome to the meeting. Thanks for being with us. I'll share just an Elder Alliance update that we our upcoming event, which is this Workforce on Tap event presented by Tucson Metro Chamber, Strength and Silver, the value of hiring older adults. This is going to be a gathering of a panel of some experts and me to dispel myths and highlight the advantages of hiring older adults in the workforce. And we have Donna Bakerex, who's in our meeting, myself, Linda Hollis, who's online, and Erin Wadka, and we'll be on a panel. If you know a business or know anyone who's a member or non-member of the Tucson Metro Chamber, please invite them. This is October 26th. It's going to be at United Way in this room. It won't be hybrid, so just note that it will be in person. It is $25 for non-members. It's free for members. And there's the page to register is through Tucson Metro Chamber's website. Liz, would you share with us a bit about Days of Caring and the public policy survey?
Yes, happily. Hi, everyone. 2 upcoming things to note. We have our annual Days of Caring event next weekend. Some projects I think start on Friday. And so you still have the opportunity to volunteer if anyone has any interest. The projects are listed on the Golden app, which is like a volunteer engagement app, but you can also navigate your way there through our website. There's lots of projects. Many of our partner organizations have probably submitted projects, so you can volunteer with any number of nonprofits, municipalities. There's all kinds of stuff happening, and it's usually a good fun time. You get a United Way shirt, hang out with some friends for the weekend, and do some good volunteer work in the community. So I encourage you all to participate, and next year, please submit projects. We love to reach out and get you volunteers for small projects that you need help with at your organization or your community as well. And then it's time for our annual public policy survey. This is an organization-wide public policy agenda setting questionnaire. So many of you have participated in this before. I'm just going to urge people to please complete the survey, and we'll send out links again. United Way is in the middle of doing a new strategic plan, And so our voices weighing in on this survey, talking about the issues that are really, you know, bubbling to the top for your organization or your neighborhood or what have you, really is going to help the board and leadership here kind of set the priorities for the next strategic plan. So please weigh in, and you won't see any dramatic changes, I don't think, from previous years in terms of the general scope. So education, health, and financial well-being. But within those categories, please feel free to elevate your concerns and priorities.
Thank you. And for any links to for the link to the survey, please feel free to email me or Liz or anyone at United Way. And then we have a share from Alex Casper of VITA. Thanks for being here, Alex.
Yeah, thanks so much for the invitation, Micah. If you aren't familiar with VITA, VITA is our Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And it's an IRS-sponsored program where each year United Way is able to train and certify over 150 volunteers to offer free tax prep assistance to thousands of households throughout Arizona. It's a deeply rewarding and unique volunteer experience. Several of our volunteers have come back for years, 10 plus years. So definitely encourage anyone who has any volunteer outreach at their organization to please share this opportunity. The number of people that we are able to serve is directly tied to the number of volunteers that we have. And I did also just want to highlight that it's an extremely accessible volunteer opportunity. You can volunteer entirely virtually, so people don't even need to be local to Tucson to be able to serve with our program. There's no experience required. We provide all training and certification prep and support that volunteers need. If you're interested in helping people, then we want you on our team. And I also just want to highlight our impact. Last year, we had 165 volunteers serve collectively over 7,000 hours and filed throughout the state of Arizona over 13,000 tax returns. So this is a very impactful program. And as it says there on the flyer, our households receive an average refund of $1,200. So where else is an hour of your time worth that much money in impact? So again, encourage anyone who is interested in learning more to please reach out, as it has there on the screen. And I can also share my direct contact information in the chat. I'm happy to connect with anyone who wants to learn more one-on-one, and we can always provide presentations to groups of any size. So encourage you to reach out if you'd like to learn more. And thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Alex. And it's a little cut off, but we have, it's a little wonky. We have a moment to hear updates from our core team and the chairs of the Elder Alliance, Mark Clark, Dr. Linda Hollis, and Judy Klinko. I don't have you in any particular order, but if there's anything you'd like to share with the group or say hello one more time, feel free.
Good. Oh, all right. So from me, Mark Clark, I was last week at the beginnings of a steering committee for the next round of the Community Health Needs Assessment, or CHANA, as it's referred to. The CHANA is actually a health needs assessment and sort of plan that nonprofit hospitals have been for a number of years required to do. And so here in this community, our two nonprofit systems, Banner and TMC Health, jointly undertake the CHANA, and they're working very closely with the health department, the Pima County Health Department, on that effort as well. And so they did a kickoff. They're in the process of putting a steering committee together. I believe they've already selected a survey research company. They intend to do pretty big community, sort of, I suspect electronic survey. And that, the information, I guess, gathered drives the development of a set of priorities for sort of the wider community. I think the health department actually does its own survey. We just finished the survey a year ago, which we're still getting ready to report out through our community assessment process. And the state health department has also did a big state health plan, which there's just a lot of activity. So, but I would encourage you all to look at or look for that community health needs assessment. If you're really the kind of person who loves to sit in rooms and think a lot about important topics related to health, you might even want to consider getting involved in that steering committee. And if you do, get a hold of me and let me know. The other thing I will share with you is the state of Arizona, under the Older Americans Act, in their role as the state unit on aging, the Division of Aging and Adult Services at the Department of Economic Security, is required to have a statewide advisory council. In Arizona, it's called the Governor's Advisory Council on Aging. It goes by the acronym GACA. I was up in Phoenix yesterday for a meeting of GACA. They have a new executive director for aging, which that position has really been, I think, vacant for most of the pandemic time period. Her name is Letitia Centers. I was very excited. Bless her heart. She comes from child welfare, child development. She actually was very active and worked most of her career at Head Start in child development services. Her first career, as she identified. So I know at some point she's talking about doing a sort of a listening tour in the world. I suggested that, well, anyway. So we might want to have her come down and, she might be interested, or Zoom in to our meeting, because I know she's very interested in learning as much as she can about aging. So those are probably good enough for me right now.
Do you know when that community needs assessment will be completed, the healthcare one?
Oh, they just literally have not even officially put the steering committee together. So
okay,
it's a little bit of a ways off.
There's a last one.
There is a last one. Yeah. Aging issues that I don't believe has showed up pretty much at all on in their top priorities, as I recall from the slides.
Thank you, Mark. Linda, I saw you said you don't have anything. Thank you for the well wishes, and we wish you well. Judy, do you have anything to share with us?
No, I don't have any updates, but welcome to everyone, and thank you all for being here and for your continued participation to support our agenda in transforming services for older adults. Thank you.
And welcome in person, Morgan, who we heard a little on the phone, from Alzheimer's Association and one of our action team chairs. So that's too wordy for the moment. Let me just share about it first. Part of Elder Alliance, a core part of this alliance is we have streams of advocacy. We have action teams, 5 action teams and 1 community mobilizer team of Voices Connectors. And our action teams discuss or center dementia, behavioral health, affordable housing, direct care, workforce, and advocacy and diversity, education, IDEA, etc. We, for the last many months, the action team chairs, which there are 2 on each team, have been working to identify their priorities and goals for the year and working on their own team's charter. each charter guiding them through the year for their work and their goals. And I wanted to kind of pull a few goals and introduce you to the chairs, and they'll, if they're in the meeting, they'll share a little bit. And the next slide is not pretty, sorry. We're gonna be here for it though. If we'll start with Morgan, if you would like to share. I just pulled a few goals, and you can share what you have, and if you want to elaborate, you're welcome to also.
Sure. I think the gist of our goals really is around continuing to maintain space for people impacted and serving people with dementia and other Alzheimer's and other dementias, and to highlight all the work that we're doing collaboratively, but doing that in a much more public-facing way this year, with the goal to really showcase our collaborative work in the community across the dementia space. Second goal here, increasing awareness about the initiatives and activities, public marketing campaigns, and really working to advance access to care as well. And that's a big thrust of the work that we're going to be doing together, is increasing awareness and increasing access to care.
Amazing, thank you. That's the Dementia Action Team. And these teams meet mostly every other month, and some do meet monthly. Are they welcome? I don't, Aaron Wadkar, Algerie Wilson, are you on this call? I don't think so, so I'm gonna share a little bit. Or does anyone from advocacy team want to share a little bit? Okay, so we have an advocacy team that really centers policy and advocacy on behalf of older adults in Orange County and City of Tucson. A few things that they have prioritized for the year: centering elder abuse and scam fraud awareness in Pima County, which we will be centering in this meeting today, and caregiving and caregiver justice, focusing on reimbursement rates and mitigating obstacles for caregivers. There are a lot of frustrating obstacles, bureaucratic messes in the way of receiving the paperwork and the ID, fingerprinting, and needs to become a caregiver. And this team, it wants to tackle those processes, and that comes down to policy. I have something for you on the next slide, by the way. We have Donna Baker X here. Donna, if you want, from the Direct Care Workforce Program at United Way, which supports the prerequisites of somebody becoming a caregiver. Donna, would you love to or like to share some of these goals and maybe a little bit about the team?
Yes. Right now we're trying to build a better workforce to meet the demands, and I think that came from Judy, which is right on point. So advocate and screen each applicant that wants to be a direct care worker, because each direct care worker, when you share their opinion, you share their feelings, and that way when we reach out to other caregiver facilities, that make sure they got a top-notch person that's going to be very caring and to care for the people that they care for, especially the elders at home. So as the 3 requests right there: request, review, analyze data submitted by industry providers. So other industry providers, we're trying to get more information about people they hire. If we pay for their pre-appointment, their fingerprints, CPR, TB, we kind of like for you to participate with us to give us those that you hire, so we can put it on our data. Advocacy for direct care workers, peer support group. I do offer a peer support group on 3rd Tuesday evenings for people that want to talk, especially direct care workers, because they have a lot to say and they want to know somebody's listening. So we still do that. I get a few that come, and that's what we talk about: how to make their job better, what is rewarding for them to be a direct care worker. 3, identify improvement methods to screen applicants and better prepare for employment. And that's what you talk. I have them talk. We talk about their feeling. We talk about everything. I let them know that I'm listening, because then I know how they feel and if they're going to be a great candidate. So that is what now we're working on. That's the future of being a direct care worker, because it's a high demand and everybody's looking for them. So that's basically the pinpoint of it. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And Harbhajan, would you share, I have the mission and vision of BHOC here. Would you share it with us and share a bit about this team?
Absolutely. So BHAC, the mission is to promote awareness, education, and advocacy of wellness services for older adults in Southern Arizona through community collaborations, with a big focus on embracing good physical, emotional, social, and spiritual well-being. And so for the next year, we kind of have two main focuses that we're working on. One of them is more internal. So how can we increase retention and recruitment within BHAC? Just part of being a part of behavioral health, there's a lot of turnover. And so we've had some challenges in the last years, especially through COVID and now with more things being in person. A lot of folks have left the behavioral health field. So we're working on a lot of ideas and things that we can do for attracting new members and how can we keep folks engaged. And then as a group, we decided that we wanted to talk about and focus on social isolation. And so that's something that really impacts both older adults and those in behavioral health. And so that's something that we are going to be working on. And then we've done some restructuring. So we're now meeting 4 times a year. We're going to do 2 in-person meetings and then 2 virtual ones. And so we're hoping that that kind of restructure will also help with our recruitment and retention.
Thank you so much. And so just on the tail of that, BHOC's next meeting is October 26th at 9 a.m. at United Way, I believe also in this room. Breakfast is provided, and if you'd like to join, please RSVP to Iris Yost, whose email is right up here. I would love to introduce to y'all Jim Murphy to share a little bit about this Livable Communities Action Team that is being kind of restructured and built, and our chairs for that, Jim Murphy and Aaron Watt. Kind of be lucky to have Jim in the room with us if you want to share a little bit with us.
Okay, maybe just a wee bit of background. We have had for a number of years now the age-friendly livable community action team that really focused on one thing, and that was a number of years ago encouraging and working with the city of Tucson over 2 years to develop an age-friendly plan for the city under AARP's 8 domains of livability. And we were successful in helping the city develop that. And there are recommendations under 8 of those topics, and they range from the ones you would normally think of, housing and transportation. But the other ones, for instance, are outdoors and space, respect and social inclusion, work and civic engagement, community and health services. There are 8 different areas for the city to focus on. And the whole concept is if you make something generally more appealing and accessible for older adults, it's going to help everybody. You know, you pave a sidewalk and you have the kids, you know, running up and down and strollers, and old people can walk and so forth. So that whole concept. Over a period of years, the housing action team, the transportation action team of Elder Alliance kind of went away. And one of the major recommendations in that plan had to do with housing. So a group picked up that recommendation outside of the city and said, we want to try and do something about it. And over a period of time, and I won't go into all the history, but some of you have a copy here of the Affordable Housing Initiative for Older Adults. So earlier this year, or late last year, this publication was made, and it identifies recommendations as to how the community can develop more options, housing options for older adults, just not brick and mortar, but as some other people in this meeting today, house sharing, tiny homes, a variety of changes in building codes and things to facilitate more housing options. So that's where the focus has been. And now we're looking at kind of changing that and talk about livable communities generally with a focus on aging. there still is ageism. When you talk about older adults, you turn off, unfortunately, many people in the community, because it's not their interest. Children's disease, animals have much more sexiness and fundraising and getting things done than older adults. So although our focus isn't going away from that, we're developing the livable community action team. And one of the main goals will still be trying to work with the city of Tucson to implement those recommendations. Nothing has happened since that was, not much has happened since that was adopted in 2019. And through another process, we were able to get the city engaged, and we met recently with the city manager and one of his top staff, and they committed to look at all of those recommendations, identify which ones have been completed and which ones have not, and develop a strategy then to move forward. So we've made some progress in that area. So with the visibility action team, though, we're going to look at those 8 domains. I've mentioned some of them, and primarily focus on being a vehicle to distribute to all the other action teams, to the political jurisdictions, the community at large, best practices from throughout the country, regionally, and so forth. So one of our main goals was to pass on to all the other action teams good things that are happening that we might want to consider here rather than, you know, redeveloping and the wheel. Secondly, we'll be looking to help, primarily, we made a commitment to the city to help them get out to other communities throughout the country, the innovative things we're doing here. And we are doing a lot of good things here that other communities could benefit from. So that's going to be one of the major responsibilities of the Livable Community Action Team. The other ones will be working again with the city of Tucson and trying to stay in touch and make sure they don't let that plan sit. They have all kinds of plans they update all the time, but this plan they never updated. And I think we've made the impression that it is no less important than the other plans that the mayor and council have adopted. Also, we're going to be looking at approaching one of the other political jurisdictions in the county to see if they're interested in developing a livable community age-friendly plan. So that'll be one of the things. The other is just organizing ourselves structurally as to how we're going to continue to do those sort of things. And then there's a group called the Affordable Housing Leadership Team, because it had no real base, you know, although there was support from United Way and the AARP and Tucson Housing Foundation. It really didn't have a home. So we're going to continue to support that leadership group in the advocacy of implementing those recommendations in that report. So I'm sorry to be so long-winded, but I want to go back to the history because a lot of people don't even know where we've been.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it looks like as we move forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you. No, the history was needed. And if you're interested in getting involved in this team and the Livable Communities Age-Friendly Action Team, please shoot me an email. My email's right here, and I will send some updates as they come. Jim? Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Putting you right on the spot. We are so lucky to be joined today by Jim Henley of Chris May's office, who's going to share with us about elder abuse and scam and fraud prevention. I just want to toggle really quick and get these sidelines out of here. And then I have your slides up.
Okay, great.
Maybe it's
There it is there.
Liz, do you know to take these little margins out? If not, it's okay, it's my neurosis.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for being here.
Can everyone hear me? Oh, I can feel the excitement in the room. Okay. My name is Jim Henley. I'm a supervisory special agent with the Attorney General's office. I'm originally from Chicago. Hold on the applause.
You're kidding.
Huh?
You're kidding,
No,
Chicago?
we never picked Chicago. And if you're going to Chicago, I had a friend of mine went back and he's from Boston. Went to get a hot dog and he asked for ketchup. I had to step away from him.
Unacceptable.
I had to step away from him. It's like an abomination type thing. But I've spent 30 years with Cook County Sheriff's Police. Cook County is where Chicago sits. And 20 of those years, I was working financial crimes, senior financial exploitation, elder abuse, a whole host of crimes. And the reason I'm here today is to talk to you about scams. A little bit of an overview. We're gonna do background. Why does it happen? How scams work, how to stop a scam, where to report it, and some helpful websites. If you have any questions, just kind of pop up anytime. Background, this is a conversation really worth having because why are seniors the biggest targets? Well, the reason they're the biggest targets, they experience abuse, the older adult population, surprise, is expanding. We have the highest migration of people leaving the workforce and going into retirement. 68% increase in nursing home care. That's another topic we could do another 2 or 3 hours on. 50% increase by 2030. And here's one of the biggest ones. It kind of shocked me when I saw this. They're expecting a 75 to 95% increase in dementia and Alzheimer's. We have become so great medically keeping people alive for a longer period of time, but guess what comes with that? Alzheimer's and dementia. Sorry to say, it is a big increase for something that we're looking at. How do we handle this? And as a society, I don't think we're ready for it. We really aren't. You know, just looking at some of the facts and figures going on, we are not ready for this onslaught coming at us. Hopefully they'll come up with some magic bullet to take care of it, but I doubt it. Seniors, when they retire, most of the time their mortgages are paid off, their cars are paid off, and who are the criminals going to go after? They're going to go after people who have money. The average person is still paying on a mortgage, putting kids through school, and they're living almost paycheck to paycheck in some cases. So as a criminal, why would I go after that person who barely has any money? I'm going to go after somebody who has 401ks, pensions, IRAs, all this money sitting around, and their houses are paid off, their cars are paid off, limited credit card debt. So might as well go after them because that's the best thing. Strangers. These are some averages, and you have to look at the date this was done. This was done in 2017. I'd almost triple this amount now. Family members. If you have senior financial exploitation, from my point as an investigator, the first person I'm looking at is a family member. The loving sons and daughters, nieces, nephews, cousins. Everybody thinks it's the, you know, the caregiver, the assistant in the home. No, no, no. First one we're looking at is we're looking at the loving family. And several of the people that I've arrested and done interviews on, the most amazing comment that they've said is, it's mine. And my response is, no, it's not yours. The person is still alive. So they look at it as being their money. And then we have the caregivers come in, but like I said, if you're looking at this, this is the amount that you're looking at right here is family members. The reason we're going to talk about this is the biggest thing in my presentation today, is why does it happen? The simplest thing is when we started getting all these cases, we were looking at, okay, money stolen, we arrested people and everything else, and the cases kept coming and they kept increasing. And we were like, why is this happening? So part of our interview process is we were asking the people why it happens. So if you're having a lot of robberies, one of the questions you should ask is why are these people being robbed, or why is this place being robbed? Well, we weren't exactly that smart at the time. We just kept doing the cases. Look at this. And we changed the word. We put naive in there to make it stupid rather than stupid. There's other words that people use, but we wanted to be politically correct and sensitive, so we went with naive. And here's some of the reasons. Fear. And if you look at fear, an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation, awareness of danger. Remember that word danger as we go through this. As cavemen, our lizard brain in the back would tell us, uh-oh, something's wrong, run, hide, get away. We don't want T-Rex to eat us. But as we got older, educated, we start overriding that lizard brain. That lizard brain is here to protect us. But no, we're smarter and couldn't possibly happen to us. No power robs the mind of acting and reasoning as fear. I love this one, which does not live by secrecy. Here's another reason, and this was the one that really got us when we started doing the interviews: loneliness. And emptiness begging to be filled. Think about that one. Companionship, and this is my all-time favorite. It's the feeling that no one cares. This is the biggest one we heard from people when we were doing our interviews, was there was no one there for me. Nobody cared about me. I'm old. And I listened to a radio blog, and they were talking about this. And the guy came up with one of the best phrases I've ever heard. We're an obsolescent society in the US. We have nothing that's permanent. And guess what? If you're old, you're considered obsolete. So, you know, oh, old guy, get out of the way. I got things I got to do. Push them off to the side. If you go to other foreign countries, older people are revered because of their knowledge and everything else. Not in the United States. Oops. And this is the epitome of loneliness. So the reason why they're lonely is spouses or significant others have passed away. Close friends have either passed away, gone, or moved away. Family members have moved or do not visit regularly. A lot of these cases that I get on senior financial exploitation where money's been stolen, the kids call me up, you know, Olga, the caregiver, is stealing our money. Oh, well, when's the last time you saw mom? Well, I live in Massachusetts and I've got a family and it's hard to get out to Arizona to see mom. Well, when was the last time? 7 years. Well, why are you calling me now? Because the money is starting to be missing. And they look at it as, again, remember what I told you, it's their money. So now all of a sudden they're interested. They weren't there for mom or dad before, but now they are. With all these people that are missing from them, what are they, that support group, that person that you could go to go, hey, I got a phone call from the IRS saying that I owe money. There's no one to talk to anymore. So, and there's no support group. Some of the seniors are afraid of technology. They don't really, you know, I mean, my wife's grandmother, she's an ace at Facebook. She knows how to do all the digital stuff. I actually called her up once to ask her on something and she got me right through it, you know, and everything else. So either that or I get my grandson or my granddaughters to do it. We start getting into another area which causes this fear and loneliness. Medical problems, limited mobility. Can they get out of the house to visit other groups? Can they get with other people? Depression sets in. Again, 800-pound gorilla in the room, dementia or Alzheimer's, and even medications. Some medications can cause mental change. And the magic phrase that we use in law enforcement is change of mental status. If you're a normal person, you can stand on a street corner and hand out $100 bills to people walking by. People may say that you're crazy, but it's your legal right to do it. But if I can get a doctor to say, they're suffering from Alzheimer's, they're suffering from dementia, they really don't have any control over their, you know, financial abilities and everything else, then I can pull you off the corner, take your money, and get a fiduciary or a guardian to look after you from that point on. But, you know, sometimes medication will change it. Trusting nature, as we grew up, we were always, you know, told to trust people. Some people just can't fight back. And this is one of the biggest things, the respect for authority figures. And a lot of the scammers use this. They use the special agent thing, they use the priest thing. You know, they always go with the authority figure because they know it works. Does anybody know where all these phone calls are coming from? Any ideas in the room here? Where do you think they're coming from?
As far as like country, you mean, or from?
Yeah, any place. Just think about it. Where would they come from? These calls that all these people are getting. Just out of curiosity, just to.
Nigeria.
Nigeria is one, but you'd be surprised at the next one. India. India has call centers set up that do nothing but this stuff. India. We thought, you know, Nigeria was always my first answer. because they're the ones who started this whole mess. But now it's India, it's also Bulgaria, and it's the third one in line is Albania. So, yeah. How scams work. It's a spectrum of financial crimes: credit card fraud, forgery, bank fraud, mortgage fraud, insurance fraud, fundraising theft, forgery, internet fraud, medical fraud, and then you have the financial exploitation. If you could put a dollar sign in front of something, they're gonna go after it. Just think about it that way. They use fear as their primary tool. There's a warrant for your arrest. We had this scam going around Chicago for like almost 5 years. They call up, we're from Cook County Sheriff's, we're from the Illinois State Police. There's a warrant for your arrest. And unless you pay $3,000, oh, by the way, you have to go to Walgreens and buy gift cards and pay us that way. Oh, you mean I don't go down to the county building and pay? No. You don't have time because the SWAT team is sitting right down at the end of your block ready to hit your house and arrest you. So they use fear. You didn't show up for jury duty. That one has been going on for the past couple of years now. Your account is frozen. Now imagine you're an elder person sitting at home and you get this phone call that your accounts have been frozen. Oh my God, what do I do? I can't have my accounts frozen. We're repossessing your house or your car. Oh, you have no one to talk to. Think about this. No support group. Oh my God, I got to take care of this because what? Authority figures called me and I got to keep my house. It's the only thing I have left. You have unpaid court fines. Your utilities will be shut off today. Unless you go to Walgreens, get Apple Pay cards, get Green Dot cards, load them up, and then call us back with the numbers. Now, if you hear about this, everybody's like, well, why did they do Apple Pay and Green Dot cards? All I need is the 16-digit numbers off the back and the 3-digit CVC code. I don't even need the card. By the time you give them the CVC code, that money's already gone. It's already been taken out of those cards and disappeared. They're quick talking, authoritative voice. I actually had one lady who recorded the conversation. The guy on the phone, after half an hour of talking with her, said, "Are you too stupid to understand this? I'm shutting off your power. And I'm going to do it right now unless you take care of this." Can you imagine though? Are you too stupid to understand this? Wait till your friends hear about this. Now we're starting to go into embarrassment angle. So if you're alone in your house and somebody says, "Do you want your friends to know you're a deadbeat?" Ooh, not good. The other favorite one we have is Sven or Olga somehow gets in contact with them. They start the Lonely Hearts thing, and Olga is in a pink bikini or a yellow bikini. Sven is a muscle builder. "I love you. I want to come to America, but I'm having some problems with my passport, immigration. You know, I have a mole on my chin. They won't let me into the country." All this stuff that goes on. And the next thing you know, "Oh, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me?" And, "Oh, I want to send you money. Can you give me your account number to send you money?" "I have your account number as," No, that's wrong. This is my account number." So you can see how this all works. The other thing we also saw was when it gets into the serious stuff like the IRS, the Secret Service, all these other things, if you tell anybody in your family or call law enforcement, the bad guys will know, and then they'll be at your house and kill your family, your dog, and your parrot. So they use this fear tactic again. They prey on loneliness. Don't tell anybody about this. My God, we don't want you talking to anybody because somebody's going to go, I wouldn't do that if I was you. This is one of the biggest ruses that we see. This is Agent Bob from whatever agency you want to throw in there. Calling to tell you your information accounts have been taken over by terrorists, criminals, drug cartels, foreign governments. And we need you to pull your money out of your accounts now. To catch these people, we need you to send us the money using, their biggest thing now is lately Bitcoin. So I had an 85-year-old lady driving all over Phoenix. And did you realize that there's Bitcoin ATMs in every gas station now? Bitcoin ATMs, not just an ATM, but a Bitcoin ATM. You can actually go to your gas station, fill up your tank, and do Bitcoin transactions right inside. So that we can see how they're moving the money. They've already struck with fear, and now they're saying, you can help us. So this lady lost $115,000. $115,000. She was terrified that the terrorist criminal group cartels were going to come to her house and kill her family. So 115,000. Most criminals now use robo-dialers. They don't really care how many phone calls they make. They can make 200,000 phone calls in a day using a robo-dialer. But if they get that one or two people, 115,000 that they just got in, and on average, whoever works the scheme gets 15 to 20% of the money and the rest goes to the other gang members. But they use robo-dialers. They're using artificial intelligence now. There's a great thing if you, when we get done here, I'll see if I can bring it up. It's a 60 minutes, a little segment on San Diego County attorney who investigated a case where they were using AI. And they were able to catch 3 out of the 5 people, I think it was. But by the time they caught them, they'd already gotten something like $6.5 million. Use AI generated voices. They use AI for searching. They search Facebook for targets now, searching business database for targets. They create fake companies and they'll go to like ClearPoint, ChoicePoint, all these other database mining companies and say, oh, we're XYZ company and we're looking for people who are 75 to 85 in this income group, that type of thing. So why waste our time robo-dialing all these other people when we can actually narrow it down and scope right in? Data mining of open source websites, and then they use the dark web, the Tor, the onion router as it's called. If you've been a victim once, your name now goes into the dark web onto Tor, and now you become a primary target for them to come back at you again and again and again. So the warning signs: cash withdrawals or transactions encouraged, of course, by others. Banks are really getting good at this now. They actually have a safe policy now. What they do is they go, what are you using the money for? Do you understand this is a lot of money you're taking out? You're not being coerced by somebody who's saying that they're a federal agent or anything else like that. And a lot of this stuff is being stopped right at the teller window, which has been a great asset for us. And the one thing you have to understand is once this money is gone, there's no insurance. There's no, people are like, get my money back. Well, I'm sorry, when you sent those cards, those wire transfers, you sent them over to England, you sent them over to here. It's a foreign country. We can't do anything for it. We really cannot do anything for it. And they're shocked and amazed that, you know, how come I can't fly over to England, grab the bad guy and get their money back? That's the way things are set up. And the criminals know this just as well as we do. They've had people, the bad guys on the phone will tell them that you're remodeling your house. Tell them that you need to pay off a surgery loan or another car loan. And then you have the concerns about missing funds. Now, what happens when that money is gone? Whatever care that they were paying for is gone. I sent the slides so you can have them. So, no. I didn't mean it that way. I apologize. Now we get to the best part. You and the United Way Group can all assist us in stopping scams. And here's one of the biggest factors to stop a scam. Stop. Stop. You get this phone call. Number one, I don't answer the phone unless I know who's calling me. But now the criminals are getting better, and now they're using what's called skip IDs. It's a program you can buy anywhere online, $189, and I can make it look like my phone is calling you from the White House. But if I don't know the number, guess what? I'm going to let it go to voicemail. That's it. Stop. Take a breath. Take several breaths. The only thing that should make you rush to do something with your money is if there's 800-pound weight on your chest, your left arm is radiating pain, and you're in a cold sweat and you can't breathe. That's the only reason to make any rash decision. Other than that, stop, take a breath, take several breaths. Think about what you're doing. Have you paid your bills? If somebody calls you up and says your mortgage hasn't been paid, wait a second, I have paid it. First off, I'm not going to answer the phone. Second off, if I was to answer the phone, guess what? I pay my bills. I know I pay my bills. Pure and simple. Why is the government asking me to send them money? Why? Why do I have to send them money? They know how to take my money automatically. You know, April 15th, they get my money. That's it, pure and simple. Why do I have to use a gift card, Bitcoin, wire transfers to pay my fines? Seriously, why do I have to do that? But again, if you're this far, if you didn't stop and take a breath and think about what you're doing, guess what? Your money's going to be gone. How did you win the Australian lottery without buying a ticket? We all laughed, but guess what? I had one lady back in Chicago, $850,000. It starts off like this. She gets a phone call, and it's an Australian voice. You just won the Australian lottery, $75 million. The only thing you have to do is pay us $3,283.76 for customs and tax fees. Oh my God. Where do I send the money? Part of some of the problems with these scams is greed. We're its ugly head too. You don't get nothing for free. So she sends the 3,000. 2 days later, she gets another call. Oh, we forgot. There's a Australian US tax, blah, 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 that has to go. So it's 45,000. But remember, you're winning 60 million. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on. I didn't do it.
This is an example.
I didn't do it.
Send it to voicemail.
Just wanted to talk to you about your car warranty. But believe it or not, they actually get money out of people for this. Now, the strangest thing when we interviewed this lady was one of the first questions I asked her, did you buy an Australian lottery ticket? She goes, no. I go, have you been to Australia? No, I'd love to go sometime. I go, let me understand this. Out of all the people that buy Australian lottery tickets, you won the lottery without buying a ticket. Think about that. You won the lottery without buying a ticket. And somehow you had to pay all these fees. I go, did you know that if you win a foreign lottery, you have to go to that country to collect it? You cannot collect it in the United States. And guess what happens when you fly back in? There's that little I-94 form that you have to fill out. You've won money. The government wants their cut now. But this worked for a while.
There you go.
Okay. These are money mules. And I want everybody to understand something. If you become a money mule, I can arrest you on a felony charge because what you're doing is money laundering and money structuring. You're also part of a conspiracy. Those are all class 3 and class 2 felonies. So, and the FBI has a great thing on their website about money mules. They have this little video and everything else. It's really fantastic. But just read this for a second. Hamas, Hezbollah, and all these other organizations use money mules now. Because guess what? I arrest Aunt Edna for moving money. I could charge Aunt Edna, but how's that going to look? And all the criminal organizations, terrorist organizations, cartels all know this. Did you know that in 2015, 2016, 2017, there was what they called the Grandma Grandpa Express? They were getting people, the cartels were getting grandma and grandpa to drive their RV down to like El Paso or Plano or McAllen, Texas, load it up with drugs to bring it back up north. Because if I'm a trooper or a police officer and I stop this RV and I look in, it's grandma and grandpa, well, okay, slow it down, take your time. Then when they get to Chicago, they now load up the RV with all the drug sale money and grandma and grandpa drive it back down to McAllen to offload. They were getting 20 to 25,000 a trip. So grandma and grandpa are like, whoo-hoo, this beats Social Security, you know, and everything else. This is another thing. This is almost like Money Mule. So Aunt Edna meets Lars online and everything else. And Lars is like, hey, I got these packages that I want to send to you. And if you could send them over to, you know, my brother, Tony, who lives in Poland, I'd greatly appreciate it. because I don't have time to do it or whatever other excuse he does. This is like Money Mule, except now you're involved in credit card theft, ID theft. The criminals are using other people's identities to go to stores to buy high-end ticket items, iPads, computers, laptops, anything that's new on the market, GoPros. They ship it to your house because they can't ship it overseas. The majority of companies won't ship items from the United States to overseas unless it's a valid account. So what they do is they ship it to Aunt Edna, then Aunt Edna repackages it and sends it over to Poland. So you're part of this conspiracy to use identity theft and stolen goods, and you're shipping it over to a foreign country. Again, a class 2 and class 3 felony. Aunt Edna, believe it or not, her house was filled with stuff. We actually had close to $3 million in ID theft items that had been bought. And they owed her $60,000 in shipping fees when we arrested, and we actually had to arrest Aunt Edna. Aunt Edna got 3 years in prison. So, yeah. Aunt Edna was doing it for almost 18 months. So, yeah. Where to report? You got your local law enforcement. You have your adult protective services, Arizona Department of Health and Services, and the Attorney General's office. You can call us too. Reporting to local law enforcement. If the person is in imminent danger, please call 911. Don't hesitate. Don't try to call us. Don't waste time. If there's imminent danger, call 911 immediately. If they're not imminent danger, you can call the local jurisdiction, file a police report online. If you call us, I'm sorry about the Adult Protective Services, you know, they do a lot of good stuff and everything else.
Sorry, but you're sorry about APS?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry about APS. I didn't mean it that way. Again, what they are is APS is more of a background agency, not a primary response agency. They're good for investigating these cases, and the good thing about APS is that as a law enforcement agency, if I go into your house and we do the investigation and there's either no validation of a crime being committed or we don't have enough information, I can bring APS in behind me to ensure that you're getting your medical care, your finances are being taken care of, you know, Meals on Wheels, everything else like that. That was part of the problem that we had, is we'd go in and say, we'd arrest the bad guy and leave. Well, what happens to the victim? There was no support care for the victim. So APS can come in behind us and say, okay, we'll take care of, you know, the gentleman or the lady from this point forward. So most of our job at the Attorney General is we do larger cases, and we do a lot of, the booming trend now is mortgage fraud, house takeovers. I don't know, we have something up in Maricopa County, I don't know if it's down here, where you can actually go to the recorder's office, and if anybody tries to put any documents on your accounts, you do have it down here too?
No, I don't know.
Okay, but what you could do is actually have your account semi-locked, where you get informed if somebody's trying to put any kind of paperwork onto your house, like they're trying to put a fake lien on your house, that type of thing. I think it originated in New York, Chicago did it, and that really helps immensely with stopping any kind of mortgage fraud or house takeovers. We do financial exploitation cases, which are the big one. We're authorized to prosecute by charter. We're authorized to do these cases. We represent APS in administrative hearings. Again, we're not set up for rapid response. That's why we want you to call 911. Get the local agencies in there quickly. Fire department if necessary. The one house we went to, they called us by mistake. We went running over there. It was a horrible situation. She was a hoarder. The house actually had to be demolished. That's how bad it was. Saved newspapers and everything else. I didn't realize it until one of the firemen told me that newspapers and the print become explosive after a while, and especially under the weight of compression. It pushes all these chemicals out that can become explosive. We had to go in, we had to wear Tyvek suits and breathing equipment to get into the house, because besides being a hoarder, she was also the ultimate cat lady. I think there was like 120 cats in the house. So just the ammonia odor alone, I'm surprised that she was still viable, but you know, it's kind of like, wow, you know. So yeah, we're not rapid response. I'd rather have 911 if there's something like that. We have a website that you can go to for the criminal division. The phone number's up here. These slides are available to everybody who wants them. We could do criminal complaint. You can actually do it online if you don't want to leave your house. You know, if you just want to keep your fuzzy slippers on and suck your coffee, you can actually do it online. And here's some of the other stuff. IC3, does anybody know about IC3? IC3 is the FBI. They formed this group up, and what it is for internet crimes. You can actually go online and you can actually file a complaint online about any internet site or any kind of internet dealings. And they also have listings about some of the scams that are going on. It's really great. But these are mostly the international ones that are going back and forth, but they do keep great statistics and they do have some good stuff on their website. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, it's a government agency. They have some great stuff on scams too. This is my all-time favorite, the FTC. It's an actual government website that actually does work. They have some beautiful, they tell you how the scams work. They actually have videos on how the scams are done and everything else. And they're up to date. They're usually within a month of any new scams coming up. So, you know, yeah. And believe it or not, AARP. AARP is so up to date now on scams too. They have a whole scam section that really is great. They have videos on scams too. They also have, I believe, pamphlets and materials that you can print out or you can get from them to, you know, to put into your site so that people can get the information and everything else. Does anybody have any questions? I know that was kind of quick.
So I just heard from someone yesterday whose parents were, let's see if I can get this right, were messaged on Facebook, ended up communicating with the person via text, and the entity claimed to be able to consolidate their debt.
Yeah.
And so her parent completed paperwork, signed everything electronically via text, and gave access to their accounts. By the sounds of it, when they have the name of the company, I think, and when they call the number, there's a legitimate sort of customer service answering machine, but they keep getting hung up on after being on hold.
Yeah.
How, number one, have you heard about this? Number two, if it is, are there entities like this that maybe are legitimate businesses that are predatory, but also, you know, legal in some way? And how do you handle that?
It's 70% of illegal people doing it, 30%, you know, companies that were formed and they're just doing illegal stuff, which is kind of strange because they have all the forms and everything else and they think they're well protected. They arrested a Scottsdale person last year who was doing almost the same thing. And he was doing it with houses, foreclosure houses for foreclosure. You know, I'll come in, rescue your house, that way you can stay in your house and everything else. He was having them sign quitclaim deeds. So as soon as they signed the paperwork, the house belonged to him. So when he was arrested, he was crying, "Oh, this is all legal. Look at all the forms I have." And we're like, "No, it's not." Keep crying. It doesn't matter. You know, you're going to prison. Have a nice day. You know, so no, I don't have any sympathy for them. But who is on Facebook? The kids aren't on Facebook anymore. No, it's all the older adults are on Facebook. And if you see what these people put on Facebook, it's like, why do you have to put down you're having a cup of coffee at 9 o'clock in the morning? Why? You know, but you know what it is? And I never realized it until I talked to a psychologist. It's instant gratification because they get to see how many hits they get. So it's kind of like heroin in a sense. It's digital heroin. Oh, look, I put a picture of Spot on my Facebook page and I got 45 likes. You know, but here's Spot dressed up as, you know, as a vampire for Halloween. I got 75 likes. So it's like literally digital heroin. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, that really makes sense. One of the best stories, if I could, just to back up a little bit about Facebook, there was a couple in Colorado, about 4 years of age, and they were on Facebook for everything. You know, if they went to the bathroom, it went on Facebook. You know, if they went out for dinner, it went on Facebook. They were talking about their trip going down to Cabo for almost a month and a half. They went to Cabo, came back, and when they came back, everything in their house was gone. Now think about this. When I say everything, I'm talking about all the furniture was gone, all the fixtures were gone, all the wiring in the house was gone, the air conditioning units and furnace were gone. everything was gone. They went to their neighbors and said, what the hell happened? Well, yeah, the moving crew was here because, what did they put on Facebook? That they were having some work done and they were gonna have a moving crew remove some of the furniture. So these guys showed up with a piece of paper on the side of the door that said moving crew. They just cleaned out the whole house. And everything that anybody ever came over to them, they were like, oh no, they're in Cabo, you know? They told us they're gonna be down there for 2 weeks. The whole story matched up because they basically had the whole storyline from Facebook. So think about that. You know, my grandkids, I beat them senseless if they put anything on Facebook. I do. They don't need to know what school you're going to, they don't need anything. So, and I mean, it scares me what some people and what some kids put on Facebook. I mean, on Instagram and Twitter now, all of this.
So in this respect, who would you recommend reaching out to?
I would go to IC3 #1, I do the report there. I'd file a local complaint with the local police department. And then you have to, you know, whoever does it, if it comes to us, what would happen is we have to do an IP search to find out where the actual physical address of that internet protocol address is at. Is it overseas or is it here? So we have to search for that. And then the other thing too is, you know what the most favorite place for bad guys is? Starbucks. Free Wi-Fi. And they get to have coffee while they're stealing your money. But it takes a lot longer because we have to go into Starbucks Wi-Fi, get the IP address, who was logged on at what time. We have to look at the complaint from your people. I signed these and sent them at 12:03. And now we got to look through like 17 or 18 people at Starbucks at 12:03 to find that one magic IP address. So it does take a little time. Oh, and that's one other thing, if I may. We are not CSI. We are not Law and Order. You don't call us at 9 o'clock. Guy's not in custody at 9:30 and he's serving a prison sentence at 9:59, including commercial breaks. This all takes time. And you'd be surprised that people will get DNA. Get DNA from what? You know, you did everything online. You know, or you met the guy. Did you have any physical contact? DNA costs $2,000 to run DNA, to get a DNA baseline sample. It's $2,000. So if your mailbox got knocked over, don't ask me for DNA because it's not going to happen. Okay. But we, on average, our investigations take anywhere from 2 months to 9 months because of all the stuff that we have to put together. But by the time we get done doing the bad guys, they have no wiggle room. I'm not going to talk to you. I don't care. I have you. That's it. And on average, we're getting anywhere from 10 to 15 years in prison time. And we also have a restitution unit and a recovery unit. If they have anything in their bank accounts, we get those. The day we arrest them, we serve their bank accounts with a notice, which we actually get a check from the bank for all the money that was in that bank account. We take their cars. In the one case, the lady was wearing so much jewelry, we took her jewelry. As we're walking her out of the house, we're taking off her earrings, we're taking off her rings, bracelets, and everything else. She had close to $500,000 in jewelry at. So, and then we sell that and as restitution for the victim and everything else. We try to get some money back. But again, if you talk with anybody, with your groups, once this money is gone, it is gone. There's no recovery, there's no nothing, there's victims funds, but what are you gonna get out of that? Maybe a penny on the dollar if you're lucky. If you get that, it's gone. It is seriously gone. So what are we gonna do? Stop, take a breath, take several breaths. Think about what you're doing. Yes, sir.
I know education works, what you're doing and what AARP or anybody else is doing, because my email was hacked a couple of years ago. We had to, like everybody else, go through changing everything. You don't know what's gonna happen. But pretty soon I get a phone call from a friend who was in touch with a friend who got an email saying, Jim, this is me and I'm having a little trouble or something. I need some, I can't remember exactly how it was worded.
Click on this link.
She went, well, she talked, yeah, she talked to the people. And others opened it but didn't go any further, but she opened it and went to the second phase of it.
Yeah, click the link.
And I don't know if it was Safeway or Fry's. She went to one of the grocery stores, bought, I don't know how many, I didn't have all the details because I didn't ask the person who told me. Bought a number of cards, and at the checkout, the checker asked her about it, called over the manager, and the manager said, you're being scammed, and saved her. So the education of not only us, but the businesses, I mean, that education
Yeah.
worked because she was saved.
Like I said, the banks
She
are
was
on board
embarrassed,
now.
but she didn't lose any money.
The banks are on board now, which
Yeah.
is really an amazing thing, and I think they've stopped almost 75% of the exploitation of people, you know, taking out large amounts of money. Companies are getting involved now because it's good practice for them, you know, hey, we saved you, you know, you can come and shop here more often type thing. Another great thing is that the education aspect of it, we try to get out, do these things, and then you tell somebody who tells somebody else who tells somebody else. But you still have that fear, loneliness angle. You do. You have that fear, loneliness angle. And, you know, some of these people, when I saw them, you know, it just breaks your heart, you know, and you're trying to do the best for them. But then once you start doing a little bit of investigation, the money went to Russia. The money went to Jamaica. There's nothing I can do. And they start yelling and screaming at us, you know, I know the sheriff, I'm going to call. No, there's nothing I can do. This went across the border. So no, I can't contact the FBI. I was going to contact the State Department. I was going to contact the Jamaican police to get back your $65,000. Realistic world, it's not going to happen, you know. To get back to one other story, which you just brought up a great point of, I had a lady, guy calls her up, same thing. Her best friend's Facebook account was stolen. She clicked on a link, she gets a phone call. The guy would talk with her for 45 minutes to an hour and a half. She kept sending him money. She was out as like something like $280,000. She was almost through everything she had. She was getting ready to take a mortgage out on her house. I mean, a reverse mortgage or something. I went over and talked with her. She didn't believe it. We sent her priest over to talk to her. She didn't believe it. All her money's gone. Guess who shows up in my office 2 months later because all of her money's gone and she now has a reverse mortgage. They're taking her house and everything else. You have to get everything back. I go, we tried to stop you. What do you want me to do? I tried to stop you. I got your priest over there. I brought over everybody I possibly could. You didn't want to listen to us. But he talked so nice to me. He made me feel worthwhile. Yeah, we're all old. But then I'm like, here comes the ugly truth. I can't help you. I can't do anything for you. She's crying in my office. You can cry all you want to. I can't do anything for you. I tried to stop you. And you told me to leave your house and used a couple of really nice adjectives to tell me to get out of your house. And now you're in my office demanding and crying that I get your money back. I can't do anything. Can't do anything about it. Anybody else?
Prevention.
Huh?
Prevention is the
Prevention.
Question. So, I mean, are they looking at maybe what's gonna happen in the next, like, in the future? Because I feel like, okay, like, my mom and dad are right now the ones that they're really targeting, right? Like, what about like us as working older, you know, we're a little bit more familiar with technology and so, I mean, I would like to think a lot of us aren't gonna fall for the,
Don't ever go that route.
yeah,
You know, the first time you say, I will never fall for it,
you'll fall for it.
you'll be on the side of the milk carton saying victim.
Right.
So, you have to remember, the criminals are just as good, if not better, than the people who make the technology.
Right.
Okay, when Russia fell, all those, you know, all those physicists, all those people who write algorithms and everything else got hired by the gangs. So that's how they're writing all these algorithms. Now you add AI into the matter, and the criminals are using AI just as fast as the Defense Department is using it to protect the
Probably gonna
United
be
States.
somebody's voice you recognize.
Yeah.
With AI.
You know, with AI, you can
Not
do,
their
you can
voice, but
create
their
fake
sound.
characters, you can create fake voices. You know, you could actually have President Biden calling this person up saying, you know, I need your help, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So the faster the technology goes, before it used to be they'd steal my check out of my mailbox or something. Now they don't even bother. They just go in and wholesale rob out, you know, like do malware into banks, steal bank robbing numbers. They hire people, they get people who have clean records to put them into hospitals. Because who has better records about you as a person than a hospital? Because every time you go, you have to fill out all these forms. You know, and what do they get? Your mother's maiden name, you know, your father's date of birth. So they have all this information. And they'll just sit there, they'll put a giant 2 terabyte hard drive next to their computer, plug it in and just suck all the information out. Yeah. So, yes, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to see if anyone on the Zoom had a question. Because I couldn't see any of the digital hands, but if not, that's okay. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a renter and there's a lot of rent scams, especially in Tucson since 2020. I'm wondering if for folks that are trying to buy a house, are there house scams? Do people-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Massive amounts of house scams going on. One of the best is to take off on the rental scam, where people will look at what houses are selling. And they wait for the people to leave the house and they'll show the house to the victim. And they'll get their banking information, because if you're gonna buy the house, what most times do you have to do? You have to put down, a deposit.
And you're in competition with somebody else's trying to buy
There
it.
you go. And then once they get all the information, now they're gonna go, well, we can get you pre-qualified for a mortgage. I think mortgages are 7.9% now, I may be wrong, they're flying so fast now, but say it's 7%. Oh, I can get a mortgage for you at 6.1. So what comes up? Greed again. I'll go for the lower figure. Oh, here, complete this form. I just give you all my banking information and all my background information. They're doing fake MLS listings. Like I said, if you can put $1 in front of something, they'll figure out a scam to go and take the money off you. So, and then the other really bad thing now is the reverse mortgage scams. There are legit reverse mortgage people. There are legit reverse mortgage institutions, but now they're coming in and doing reverse mortgages. And what it is, again, there's a quit claim deed, which means basically you just signed your house over to me and now I own it. I can boot you out of the house. Yeah. So it's, like I said, if you could think about it, if it has $1 sign in front of it, the criminals are already thinking about how to do it. They really are.
So I think our time is probably like, no,
Did I make it?
You're fine.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention, I should have mentioned it earlier, that the Auditor General of the state of Arizona, on the 28th of August, issued a report called Examining the Delivery of Services to Vulnerable Adults in Arizona Adult Protective Services System. So that was requested by the legislature, specifically Tim Dunn, Representative Tim Dunn and Representative Jennifer Longden, a Republican and a Democrat. So that report has been issued.
People actually working together?
That report's been issued. It's available. I just actually sent the PDF to Liz so we can get it out. And I know there's going to be, reviews. Interestingly, the report was actually compiled by our friends here in Tucson at LaCroix Milligan Associates, who've done a lot of work. They did consult with a lot of us, including the AAAs, the area agencies on aging. And it addresses a lot of these issues, makes a lot of recommendations. And so I know the legislature is going to be looking at this report probably in their next session, and we may see some statutory changes and things like that. So it's probably worth looking at, thinking a little bit about it.
And just so you know, the Attorney General is super high on elder crime.
Yeah.
Super high on it. I mean, that is one of her main topics, and she is like really pushing for this. She's pushing for legislative changes on some laws. She wants to heighten the sentencing on certain crimes against seniors and everything else like that. So I have to throw her, her props on that. She is really, I mean, I've met with her personally, and she is like very ardent about this. She wants this done.
Right.
We start getting the bad guys.
The area agency directors have met with her as well. So we know how committed she is. She's very articulate about it. So
she's very nice to you, but to me, since I'm an employee of hers, she's like, I want this done. I want it done now.
I can see that. I mean, we met with her and her chief criminal deputy, Bill Lundell.
Bill Lundell, yeah.
And then also Tom Chabin, who's her outreach person. Is he for the whole state or just for down here?
Anything that with the Attorney General is for the whole state.
Yeah, that's what I
So, yeah.
So he's the.
So half car will travel, so, you know. But it's, she's very, you know, she's very ardent about it, like I said. She's very supportive, which is, it's one thing to say you're for this, but it's another thing to be very supportive and get the stuff that we need to get our jobs done. You know, which is, not saying anything bad about anybody else, any previous administration, but, you know, to see all this happening in the space of such a short time has been very, you know, very helpful and everything else. So, again, in closing, anybody else have any questions? In closing, remember, stop. If you talk with people, stop. Think about what you're doing. Take a breath. Nothing is that urgent. Nothing. And why are they calling you about your mortgage? Because I know if I'm late with a payment or anybody's late with a payment, you usually get a letter. Oh, and one final thing. Do not call the number that they gave you. Go online, look up the number, look on the back of the credit card. Do not use the number they gave you. Okay? Again, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Anybody learn anything? Okay, good. I did my job.
You have a car?
Yes, it is. I'm Irish. Yeah. So, my wife is Jewish. I'm Irish Catholic, so we're cashiers.
I love that. Thank you everyone online and in this room for being here. Thank you, Jim, so much for traveling, teaching us so much. If you have any, I'll send out the slides and the recording as soon as I can. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thank you so much. Grab a snack on your way out. Thank you. Have a great week and month, and we'll see you in December. Thank you all, Sheree. Thanks for being here.
And I almost think.
You guys are smiling at it.
We enjoyed it.
You're having a good time.
You know what it is? You know, it's sad that people aren't checking